All right, so I'm going to introduce my guests. Yes, indeed. I'm super excited to have them on. I'm honored, right? Super honored. Okay, so we have an American former hurdler. Yes, he is the 1988 Olympic bronze medalist in the 110-meter hurdles. No, with further ado, Mr. Anthony Tonie Campbell. You guys welcome him to the virtual stage. So let's talk. I'm going to bring him on in. Uh-oh. Hey,
Well,
Tony, how are
hey,
you?
Dre, you did not just call me Anthony. Am I in trouble? Because only my mama calls me Anthony.
I'm sorry. I was going by Wikipedia, so but
Yeah,
you
well,
like
yeah,
Tony,
yeah.
right?
You know what? I still haven't figured out how to edit your own Wikipedia page. Everybody else puts stuff in there, but I haven't figured out how to do it. But Anthony's fine if you guys want to call me that, because I figure at this age I should start being more sophisticated. So maybe I'll be Anthony now.
Oh, so how
But
are
thank
you,
you for
sir?
having me.
Yes, thank you for coming on. I am so honored. Thank you so much. And you
Absolutely.
are in San Diego, I believe.
I am in San Diego right now in my office, school office. I'm a university coach. Just became an assistant athletic director, and I'm a senior event manager at the college. I have many hats, but um, I've been trying to go home for 5 hours just to come back, get some eat, change clothes. But we start school on Monday, and just like you were mentioning, trying to get through this new normal and trying to get a school that's been closed for over a year and a half up and running has been a chore. So,
Oh,
yeah, we've had meetings all day and trying to get athletes COVID tested, because we just within the last 72 hours went to a fully vaccinated college. You can't work, you can't study, you can't be on campus unless you have the vaccination. And that's been a challenge because there are several individuals that are anti-vaxxers or misinformed and believe the government's trying to hardwire them somehow. I don't know.
isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. Yeah, absolutely. In the meantime, we walk around with our cell phone. If they really wanted to follow us, they've been following.
Hello, or your iPhone watch, or
Exactly.
your OnStar in your car. Oh my goodness.
Everything. Yeah.
I
I
know.
mean, it's just nuts what people think sometimes.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
say, "Well, I don't know what's in that shot." Well, you don't know what's in what you're eating or drinking either, do you?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, and we don't complain about seat belts or a whole bunch of other things that the government mandates. But yeah, oh no, we draw the line at this vaccine. Although you probably grew up, you had a polio vaccine, you had all your other shots. But this was the one. This is the one you're gonna stop everybody on. So
Crazy. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, that is awesome that you're giving back to the younger people and being a coach. And so are you coaching track and field or?
track and field, and I've been coaching here at this college for 20 years. This is be my 20th year, and this is my 7th year of cross country, which there is a vast difference between track and field coaching and cross country coaching. And I'll let you in on a secret. Cross
Okay.
country coaching is the best. All you do is point them in a direction, say, I'll see you back here in 45 minutes.
I ran track in high school, and I used to see those cross country guys, and I'd be like, man, they run far. But that's funny.
Exactly. I tell you what, the one good thing about cross country coaching as well, is besides that, you get to go some great places, great parks, all that kind of stuff. But if you're a fan of social media, especially, yes, I'm one of these people that have become hooked on TikTok.
Yes,
I'm TikToking away while my athletes are running.
me too. It is so hilarious. You can watch it for hours and hours.
Hour. Before I know it, they're standing behind me. Go, Coach, we've been here for 10 minutes. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. It's been
TikTok
great.
is
It's good.
fun, definitely. Well, that is so awesome. So, sir, we just wrapped up the Olympic Games in Tokyo. So, tell me, what was it like competing in the 1988 Olympics?
Well, okay, so I'm one of the rare, if not one of the rarest Olympians that there are. And let me explain myself. So I made three Olympic teams. Okay, so I made 1980, 84, and 88. Well, if you remember your history, and some of you probably weren't even born out there, but in 1980, the Western world, especially led by the U.S., we boycotted the Olympics because the Olympics were being held in Moscow in Russia, and we were boycotting because they invaded Afghanistan.
Mm,
Hello, does that sound familiar? All
wow.
right, so we were like, yeah, you cannot invade another country, occupy another country. We're not coming to your Olympics, blah blah blah. And then and so they returned the favor. They made up some excuse in 1984, and the Eastern Bloc countries didn't come to Los Angeles because the Olympics were in LA. And then, of course, in 1988, all countries got back together. 100, I think it was 161 out of 163 countries available showed up at that time. South Africa still was apartheid; they still weren't letting them in, and I think Cuba may not have came for some reason. But anyway, so I experienced we boycott them, they boycott us. Everybody comes to play. So
Wow.
three different versions of an Olympics. So what was it like? If you can imagine it, what it was like, the greatest, grandest sports festival in the world, being in front of millions of people on TV and hundreds of thousands of people in the stands, screaming, yelling, shouting, the noise, the smells, the excitement, the anticipation, the fear, of getting beat or not getting the medal. If you can imagine all that, that's exactly what it was like.
Wow.
Times 10.
Oh
So
my goodness.
yeah, so being an Olympian was a dream for me, and it was a dream that came true. I never truly expected I'd be in this position, but I had a lot of great role models along the way. And, hopefully, if we're joined by two people that are instrumental in my life, hopefully they'll join us or chime in, Steve Williams and then Mike Powell. I kind of was ahead of him, so hopefully I influenced him a little bit. But more importantly, I had great mentors that showed me how to navigate the professionalism of track and field and how to get the most out of it. Don't take yourself too seriously. Enjoy the moment because it can be taken away at any time. For me, I grew up in Carson, California, which had become, well, it was originally Compton, and then was annexed. It became Carson. And for me, I grew up in a street of 14 houses, and there were 13 kids of my age on that street. And I was one of the slowest, if not the slowest. And the only reason why I probably wasn't the slowest because my sister was a little slower than me, but so how does God take somebody who's one of the slowest kids on his street and make him one of the fastest men in the world? And it was purely by divine intervention. And he put his thumb on me and just said, I'm going to take you places that you've never imagined. And I'm going to display my gifts that I give to the world, but understand I could take them away at any time. And if you go into a situation like that, and that's how I lived my 13-year professional career, at any moment it can be taken away from me. You enjoy it much more. You really do.
Wow, that's an amazing story. Oh my goodness, you're right. I mean, I've heard about stories like that where the underdog, so to speak, ends up coming out ahead of everyone. That's amazing. That
It's
is
true. It's true.
amazing. Oh my goodness. And
My man, my man.
he was
My man.
persistent.
Good to see you, youngster.
Oh my God. Girl, you have no idea how happy my heart is right now. I haven't seen
Oh
Steve in a
man,
while, and
please.
it's my man.
It's oh man, it's like my history in the sport is so deep with all of you, man. It's like
Absolutely.
there's a
Absolutely.
brotherhood love there that will never change. If I don't
Never,
see you in
never.
50
Absolutely.
years, it's the
Yeah.
still big smile when I see your face, man. What's going on?
Yeah,
Oh my
Steve,
goodness.
Dre, I mean, seriously, when I talked about mentors, when everybody asks me how was I successful, I tell them, there are certain people, there are three people in my life that made me successful in track and field and beyond track and field in business. Because Steve, when I made my first team, me and him roomed together in a couple places, Pisa, Italy, in a couple places, and he sat me down, him, Ronaldo Nehemiah, and Steve Scott. They all sat me down, and three of them have very similar statements. They said, "Set yourself up in business outside of track and field, invest your money, and live beneath your means. Don't get caught in the trappings of the rich. Don't go out and buy the gold chains, the fancy cars, all that. So those things can come later, but do you?" And I bought myself a restaurant. I invested my money. I got property. And it's all because this man right here. He taught me, he's like,
He listened to me, but I didn't listen to me.
I hear you. But that's
Ladies,
another
Uh,
story.
ladies and gentlemen, this is Steve Williams. He is at one time the fastest man in the world. Tell us,
uh,
tell everybody about yourself, Steve.
um, well, I was very blessed to start off very young running. I had a knack for it. When I wound up being in high school, I wound in the streets of New York, in the Bronx. I was the fast kid and all of those things. I was fortunate enough, as Tonie, is to have people before us in our sport that really gave me the motivation, education, and the backbone to do what we do. I happen to have been fortunate enough to have been training with John Carlos and Bob Beeman when I was 15 years old. I was running at the New York Pioneer Club where we were training in the Hellfire 385 Black Brigade Armory,
Mm.
where every day that we went that I 3 times a week, I'm walking past all of the pictures of the black soldiers. They had their tanks in the armory. It was just something to grow up to see. I was training with Carlos because they would come into town. Bob Beeman, oddly enough, was going out with my cousin. So I met Bob Beeman when I was like 15, so it was just, I came under track royalty. And that if I just mentioned starting off with them at 15 years old, I was raised with the royalty, so I wound up in my long career. I wound up having my first world record was the world junior record in the 400. I ran 45.2 yards and 44.8 meters at 18 years old,
Wow.
and
Wow.
never ran it again.
Smart man.
Not even talking. We're not talking about the time. We're just talking about the race.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's
I
what I say,
never got.
smart man.
I never seriously got in the blocks for 400 again.
Yeah.
I ran relays, etc. But I became a sprinter, and I got hurt in 1972 prior to the Olympics. I was 6'4", so trying to put together 6'4" into that box that fit into short sprints was a lot of work, a lot of stress and strain on a tall body. But I got hurt in 72, and I was picked to make it in all three events, 100, 200, and 400.
Wow.
But 1973, I came back and I ran a world record in 100 yards at Fresno, California, in a very ugly dirt track. I ran 9-1 twice that day, oddly enough. And that sort of launched me into really being a bona fide sprinter. After that, the following year that same year I was national champion in the 100 and the 200 at 19 years old, which was the youngest and still is one of the few records I hold as the double at youngest at that time. I went on from that period of time from 74 to 76. I ran the world record 100 meters 5 times 9.9 and the 220-yard dash 19.9. Don Quarry and I at the Prefontaine meet, which is getting ready to come up tomorrow.
Yep.
So I've got a little history there. I had a little plaque in there as far as our record in the stadium. And in 76, I got injured again. 77, I came back as a World Cup champion, first time, and world record on the relay. In 80, now my 80 story is that I made the team by being in the 100-meter pool. I got fifth, but I refused. And you know how ornery I was, Tonie, about the money and about the whole amateur thing and the way they was exploiting all of us. I refused to even sign the papers for the Olympics.
Gotcha.
Mel Rosen was the coach, and Mel said to me, Steve, you should do this. Just sign the papers. I know you're not going to compete with us, but just sign the papers. And I said, no. And the next day, I was in Italy running a race.
There you go.
That year, I wound up being the #1 American in the 200 without even running the Olympic trials because I was winning all over Europe. And so that was my little Olympic story. 84, which I was sort of old at the time, I was 31. And I missed making the finals by 100th of a second. And I retired in 84 after a lovely career from 1971 to 1984 and the most 100-meter records ever run at the time and world records in 4 or 5 events, so I rest as being what I consider an all-terrain sprinter because I would run in the rain. I've got records in the rain. I've got records on dirt. I've got records with the headwind. You know how it is, Tonie.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were trekking. Okay,
yeah,
these guys got it easy, right?
Dude, on fast tracks, easy tracks, exactly.
Fast tracks, good money.
Yeah.
Got somebody traveling with you with masseuse. All of them.
Exactly.
That's the only thing I miss. I miss Bolt's money because I was the tallest before Bolt came around.
And
so I miss his money.
They forget that. Yeah.
Yeah. I miss his money. That's about it. The rest of it, I wouldn't trade for anything.
yeah. Them kids. He made. There's a few kids. Him and even with Marion Jones. They were making tons of more money than we were making. But Dre, the one thing. That I'll comment what Steve was talking about for our audience. In 1980, he chose not to sign the paperwork, and I did. And I found out that paperwork was signing you into a trust fund that whatever money you made on the circuit, while you were competing under the U.S. Team, they were making money off you and put it in a trust fund and taking your cash. And there's a lot of money that I never saw that was supposed to be in my name that I never saw it again. So They were making money off. They were making money.
Yeah. I had a Swiss bank account that time, but I won't say that.
We didn't have that conversation apparently because I needed one of those.
I don't tell on myself too much because statute of limitations is over on it. But Andres Brugger from Zurich. Took me and signed me up at Swiss Credit Bank in Zurich in 1975.
Sweet.
Young man. So I knew the game. They were abusing us. When I see great athletes that I used to train with, like Wes Williams.
Yeah.
Wes is my heart, one of my mentors. And I seen Wes work on a truck all night long and then come to practice and train. And he wasn't supposed to have to do that. And the number of the kids in America wasn't supposed to have to do these things just to be able to train. And then when we go to Europe and the Italians are living like, like, little Dons and the Germans, and let alone the East Germans and Russians. We don't USSR. We don't even get into those drug stories because,
Exactly.
Tony, you was fighting against some guys that were taking the best stuff on the planet. Me too.
Exactly.
I was fighting them guys. First time I saw Borzov in 1973, we were in Minsk, Soviet Union.
Right.
And I looked at his legs and I said, man, I guess I shouldn't have been eating all them hamburgers and living a cushy life. I said, look at this guy's legs. I whooped his ass and looked at him in the middle of the race. It was one of those rocky moments that you have in life.
Yeah.
USA versus Congo.
Yeah. Valery Borzov was a scientific experiment by the Russians, and he was counted as the specimen of sprinting, and Steve whooped his ass multiple times.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And you see, and a lot of the things is, when you talk about a rocky moment, here it was, he was double Olympic champion. I'm in his country the year after. We're running the relay because he was trying to avoid running other things. And the next thing you know, our relay team didn't have the best stick passes, and I wound up being 3 or 4 meters behind him. Now I'm very Bronx. I don't want to say I'm racist, but in the sprints, it's supposed to be the Cosa Nostra, our thing.
Right.
And it upset me even worse.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I hunted Manea, God rest his soul, in Italy first, because I had, it's just made my blood boil that the white guy had the medals, and that Eddie Hart and my boy Ray Robinson got cheated that year in 1972.
And they were the ones that missed the bus to the Olympic final because they changed the schedule, so they were not allowed to. They missed their race in Munich.
Wow.
A lot of controversy behind the scene that they were setting this up to have a European champion because of Borzov, etc.
Yeah,
so
it was crazy. They changed the schedule and didn't inform the U.S. team about it. So there was the head of the IOC was a U.S. guy, Avery Brundage, but he was not. He wanted to control a certain population of athletes of a certain persuasion, if you get my drift. And it's been stated and documented in history books about his racism. So he purposely, I think, had a vendetta.
They wanted the European. They wanted the European.
Yeah, they
wanted the European Olympics. Yes, they did.
Yeah.
So just introduce things that when people say about representing your country and this and that, and I know Tonie and I are proud of representing the United States. I mean, we take it damn seriously. I mean, there were times where we're all over the world doing something else, but if it's USA Russia, everybody's stopping what they're doing. Come there, bring their A game and knock these guys off, because it was, from us, it was not only about them as the athletes, but it was the system and communism. And we knew all of them were doping. I mean, we just know it was a national program. They still got banned. Tonie could tell you better than I. They got banned in Rio. I mean, I'm telling you stories from 1973, and the same issue was going on in 2016 with the Russians.
Exactly. Wow. Actually, 2020. I mean, that's why they made the soft shift and called them the Russian Olympic Committee, but they still won't be that. They still won't allow them to be Russia because they're still serving bans for systematic drugging. So Russia just doesn't play fair. They just don't.
Wow. So Steve, before you came on, I asked Tonie what advice would he give to someone who want to get into track and field, be an Olympian one day? What advice would you give to someone young that's watching?
I was in the Bronx, and the police athletic league had a program. The police would just literally block off the street, take a little chalk device and make lanes on the street, They take a scale, and boy or girl, if you weighed 75 pounds, boy or girl, you were running 75 pounds. And after I ran, a policeman walked up and he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, you know, I think you can do this. I think you can do this. A white cop, I think you can do this. And that was that.
Wow.
After that, I was training regularly. I was training. I didn't have a coach, so I would watch the Olympics, and I saw Tommie Smith running. Tommie was so skinny and so graceful, and I'm like, oh, I'm skinny. He's skinny. I can do it. Because Tonie, we were skinny.
Yeah, we were.
compared to the guys now,
you really show from here up, you know.
We were, I said. We were, operative word.
Yeah.
But we were skinny guys when you see the guys now. So when I saw Tommie Smith and he was so skinny and world record, and obviously with the Olympic protests, I mean, I wanted to be Tommie Smith. And he had high knee lifts. And so I was so inspired by the people that I watched, and I didn't have a coach. So I had this general feeling that, well, if they're doing 8 times 200, I should do 16. If there, no coach, just pick a number. Pick a number, make it big. Okay. And so I sort of literally repetitioned myself into being an athlete. And then I got with the New York Pioneers, with Carlos and Norm Tate, and the New York Pioneer Club group that Mel Pender used to drop in every now and then. So I had a whole 68 group around me, and they always said to me, he says, oh man, the way you finish your race, you just need to chase fast guys. And I went to school in Texas. But just somebody along the way recognizing that you have the talent or even the glimpse of talent, and then you being able to work, because running ain't easy. It's hard work. It's a lot of work. Absolutely. When you see, I was fortunate enough after my track years, I coached professional athletes. I coached the New York Mets from 88 to 92. I coached the Jets. I coached the Houston Oilers. I coached the Dolphins. I was over a lot of athletes. And anytime you see the athletes and you're trying to make these guys faster, they're making so many mistakes compared to our business, Tony,
Yeah.
And that they're getting better now. But they're making so many mistakes that you can fix them 1, 2, 3. And then you say to them, okay, now you got to go and run a mile. And they look at you like, run a mile? Exactly. Are you crazy? And that's how tough that running is. That it's the punishment for other sports.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Good point. Good point.
It's the punishment.
That's amazing. I mean, that's good advice, definitely. And it sounds like, you guys were during the era where you really had to work. You really had to work. You didn't have Google and YouTube to look up other people, how their styles. And wow, that's an amazing story. So I'm going to ask the audience, do you guys have any questions for these awesome men of track and field? Please chime in. Somebody said, wow, impressive. Someone else said you had to have a lot of drive and determination, a mind of success. So Tonie was saying earlier, Steve, that, he could zone out those voices and just focus. Is that pretty much what you did as well when you came to competing?
There's an interesting aspect that comes to competing. As Tonie was saying, you clear your mind. Back, we were old school. You'd envision there's a lot of mental visualization. I wound up taking transcendental meditation in 1975, just because my life was so hectic, and that, just like Tonie said, you got to pull it all together, shut everything else down. I was my own agent. Tony will tell you, I was my own manager. You
Yeah.
know, I was roughing them up for the money. I was roughing up the shoot companies. We'll be here all day if we talk about my
We
off
talk
the
about
track
that. Exactly.
exploits as far as holding the gun to their head and making them pay us. Okay. So all of that was getting to be too much in my head. And so I got down to transcendental meditation to clear my mind and to concentrate. You have to do that. You have to shut everything out. Like Tony was talking earlier about hearing people. You can only hear, people who I told my friends, my important friends, my middle name, which I'm not going to give you guys, but so they could scream from the stand, and I know it was them because they're the only ones that knew my middle.
I'm gonna Google it, man. I'm gonna find out.
So there is a competitive concern that people don't really look at. Tony was getting to it. When we talk about when you step in a stadium, there's two things that I used to bring to step into a stadium. And I was vicious for going to. I go into Italy, 70,000 people screaming Manea's name. I go into Jamaica, 70,000 people in Jamaica and 5,000 in the parking lot screaming Quarry's name, right? Borzov, going down to Trinidad and hunting Hazel down, right? Right? Okay. I mean, I was known for that gunfighter kind of attitude,
And Hazy was screaming his own name. So.
Yeah. So I was that gunfighter kind of attitude, just go and you pay me, I'm here. I don't care what's going on, we do it. But when you step in the stadium, you have to be honest with yourself that there's two things that I used to try to embrace. There's only two emotions that create an adrenalated performance. Two emotions. I read a book a long time ago on emotional intelligence, that your emotions tell your body what to do. And those two emotions that make the adrenal gland work is fear and anger.
Mm.
When you see a mother, you hear a story of a mother picked up the car off her baby. That's fear. You have anger when you see a guy punch a hole in a concrete wall. Those are the two emotions that get your adrenal gland going, that get you having the optimum performance, almost those X-Men performances. So I developed where if I got in the stadium, I would do which one of them would hit me. Am I up in there? Am I afraid? Do I got fear? Am I running for my life today? Or I got anger? Am I the hunter and I'm hunting everybody down today? And sometimes I wouldn't know which one would hit me. And I get in the stadium and say, oh man, I'm nervous today. Yeah. So we're running for our life, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pissed off. What? They calling my name? What is white guys? What? Let me hunt them down. Just a little performance trick that most people don't realize. And I said I've coached all these professional athletes. And then when I tell them this story, many of them say, as an individual athlete, that's why I couldn't be an individual athlete. Because I get scared. I get nervous. And I'd have to look around for my teammates to make me unnervous. But if I was out there by myself, I'd just be nervous out there by myself, and it's just having to, again, an emotional intelligence, telling the cells of your body what to do. It's, you were going in that same direction, Tony, but I heard you talking earlier.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Fight or flight.
You're going to make me, fight or flight. You're going to make me relive a lot of my races in my head and go, which emotion took control of my adrenal gland that day? Because you're right. There are some races I knew I was the baddest MF out there, and I was hunting. And there was other days that I was like, oh shit, I don't want to get beat. I don't, I can't let this guy beat me. Oh. and I was scared, and I ran out of pure fear, So yeah, I mean, I get it, totally get it, yeah. And
Oh
and
yeah,
you embrace it actually,
So it's mental.
you embrace it.
yeah.
You
Wow.
embrace it, and it's funny that when it seems simple in one respect. Everybody says that, oh wow, you're right. When I was afraid, I used to do this. When I was angry, I used to do that. But channeling it down to, we get ready to put our fingers on the line for the start, right? And then you got to bring it. You have to bring it. Another thing that happens with adrenaline is that if you've ever been in a car accident, everything goes slow.
Yes.
Everything
Time
slows down, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, and that's when I do it through my meditations and stuff, they would discuss this, and that's again your adrenal gland. It's literally changing time for you to give you the chance to save yourself. It goes back to the prehistoric time when we were running from animals. Okay, you were running for your life. Okay, the adrenal gland used to be as big as the brain in a prehistoric man, and then the adrenal gland, you didn't have to run for your life all the time, so the brain got bigger, the adrenal gland got smaller. So it's again that's stepping between the seconds. Again, we're going to talk about stuff that I know you've experienced, Tony. In your best races, it gets slow motion.
So it's like, I mean, Steve's race lasted under 10 seconds, 9 seconds. Most of the time, mine's only 13 seconds. But I tell you what, I mean, even my first published book, I talk about that. It's like time slows down. In the middle of a 13-second race, I can be, in my mind, I could read 3 or 4 chapters of War and Peace. I mean, if things are just going that slow, I see everything, feel everything. I have conversations with myself. And even though I'm moving at 20, 30 miles an hour down the track, a lot of things are happening. And I'm just like, this seems so slow. Everything's just taking forever, to happen. And, and it's an amazing feeling. It really is.
It's you watch only recently in movies do they put it out there. Where I say, yeah, that's how it looks. You watch the X-Men and the guy is stepping between the moments. So you watch the Matrix when he's leaning back and the bullets are going on. I mean, yeah, that's how it looks to me. But I'm like saying, you tell people that, they think
you're crazy.
You're high,
Exactly.
you're crazy.
Yeah, but it's true though. It's true. I mean,
It's true.
like Steve and I who have experienced it, we know it. We do know time when things are happening fast and you're so well prepared. Time slows down. It's
the amount of times that you see me doing that very ugly behavior of looking at people in the middle of the race, right? Okay, which I was terribly famous for, right? Yeah. Is that I had so much time. I mean, it's only a 9-second race, but my mind went the last 30 because that last 30 was hunting time for me. You know how far behind I was, right? In most races, it would get slow, and I'm like, I'm coming for them, and it's so nice and slow. And then I said, ooh, I should look.
Wow.
and when you see some of these top women sprinters and men sprinters, and they get at that last 30 and 20, and the coach is screaming, oh, run through the tape, run through the tape. Sometimes, and you can admit it too, Tony, is that at that top end, right, there's literally nothing else you can do but relax and see it through. Anything else is counterproductive, right?
Exactly.
You're flowing, and you got to let the flow go.
Exactly. Got to go with it. Yeah.
Awesome.
So now I've given away all the competitive secrets. I want everybody watching to go out there and be champions.
Nice. I love it.
You got kids, send them to Tonie.
I need people. This COVID's destroyed my team, man.
Oh, Steve, you sound like you should write a book about that. I mean, that can apply to so many other aspects in life as well. Sounds like
everybody's on my ass about writing the book. I was working with a writer on a Netflix. I had written a script quite some time ago, sort of a buddy movie, sort of Miami Vice makes Animal House because we got enough Animal House stories in Tony to fill a series, right?
We do.
Okay,
We
so
do. We'll
I'm
keep
sort
it
of
PG
working
on this
on it.
time.
What?
Yeah, the kids are
It's
watching.
easy now, Steve.
This is a PG show now.
I told Dre earlier, I said, I'm kind of controversial. You sure you want me on? I told her on the phone, I said, you sure now?
So what's next for you guys? What's on the horizon? Anything exciting coming up that you're involved in, or?
Well, I just accepted a new role at my college as the assistant athletic director. So, like I said, I've got a
All
new
right.
hat and I've got to deal with that because I'm slowly going to try to transition out of coaching into the administrative role, which is something I thought my career path would always lead me to. But I'm still having fun coaching Olympic athletes and Paralympic athletes. So, I just want to get through Tokyo, and then we have Paralympics and Able Body has World Championships next year. So as soon as they come back, we reset, reevaluate what's happening. Not just this last season. We got to look at the last year and a half, because we had a lot of downtime, how we handle some stuff. So it's we still move forward, and then from there, who knows where God's going to take me next. So
Okay, awesome. And what about you, Steve?
I had created such a drama during my track years. I was the first athlete to go pro. I left San Diego State and continued to go to school there. Adidas was paying my education for me, and so I sort of drove myself out of the NC2A programs, etc. And again, Tony don't want me to go into all of that because I'm sort of anti.
Another show. Yeah, because
that's another show.
So many things have changed now. Yeah, kids can make money now. Yeah. So
yeah, the NC2A, I battled them over to make everybody make this money here.
Yeah.
I laid down the gauntlet with the shoe companies. I asked for more money than they ever dreamed of thinking about asking. Any track meet that we'd go to, I was always tell the guys, ask for more money, ask for more money, ask for more money. So I never really got involved in the school aspect of it. As I said, I was coaching professional athletes. But in the last, say, 10 years, I've been involved in overseas business, commodities, I was very fortunate. I mean, I was meeting prime ministers and Swiss bankers and understanding commodities and currencies, etc. So I've been in international business for about the last 15 years. And COVID has slowed some business down that I was doing down in South America with my wife, but it's all coming back. It's coming back.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys should sit down and write a book about all your stories. I would just love to hear them. I bet some funny stories in there.
We'd have to change all the names because we get sued.
Well,
the things that we've seen, if a lot of people don't want that stuff out there. They really don't.
I was famous for being faster off the track than on the track.
Oh, okay.
Now, and because he just said that, I have to amend my statement. Steve was a mentor only in certain things,
Oh.
So, I was the young kid on the circuit. He didn't teach me certain things, and thank God,
I can only.
I was a bit of a ladies' man and a rascal. I'm going now. I'm talking too much.
Well, you guys got to come back on. This is awesome. I appreciate
Absolutely.
you guys coming on so much.
Absolutely.
People,
and I can't leave without saying we wouldn't have done this except we love your uncle. Bart is our heart.
It's our heart. Absolutely.
Bart.
That's the man.
Yeah.
Bart is our heart. Okay, and he's a Williams, so
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely got to do another show with him. I tried to get him to come on. He was like, "No, let them have it." But yeah, we got to do another show. definitely.
That's he's my heart. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yes, yes, yes.
Don't let him tell nothing about me. He's lying. Okay.
No, he ain't. He ain't.
Hilarious. Well, you
All
guys,
right.
I'll definitely be in touch, please. If you're not too busy, I'd love to have you guys come back on, definitely. So,
All right. I know. I'd be my guest. Be my pleasure.
Okay. I figured it out. I figured it out. The system now. I'll make it easier this time.
I saw you. You kept trying. I was like, he is consistent. He is truly an Olympian. He was just trying to get in.
I said I was going to line up, didn't I?
Steve, my brother, it's good seeing you, and we'll touch base. All right,
we'll do it again.
So much.
All right, thank you, Dre.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, wow. That was awesome, you guys. Awesome. Olympians. And they mentioned my Uncle Bart. Yes, he is one as well. He ran track and field with those guys. So awesome, guys. Awesome. I was a little kid watching my uncle do all those wonderful things. So anywho, thank you so much, Tonie Campbell, Steve Williams, and my uncle Barton Williams for helping me put the show together. I love you, love you, love you. So you guys.
Look, Georgia been open since 2007. Yeah. Y'all ain't messing around. Y'all like Texas. Y'all like Texas. Y'all like, you know what? Screw a pandemic. We gonna open everything up.
Yeah. Let it rip.
Since day one, like
they're gonna open June 15th before Juneteenth, which is the 19th. They know it's gonna riot. So this is all right. We're gonna open it up before that here in Cali.
Oh wow! You know, I saw your governor on Jimmy Kimmel Live last night, and I thought that I like him. I don't care what people say. I think he is so cool, especially since he's about to give all this money and stuff away to get people to get vaccinated. I wish Georgia.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. You know, I got my vaccine. I ain't getting nothing. But
wait, he giving money away. What kind of money? What kind of money he giving away for a vaccine?
They're giving away lottery tickets.
Giving away lottery tickets, everything.
They're giving like $50 a person. Something like that.
$50. $50.
I think he said also, correct me if I'm wrong, because y'all would know better than me. I think he also said the lottery and some other stuff he's giving away. So, I mean, Georgia, we don't get nothing. Y'all lucky.
You're gonna get some
Popeye chicken sandwiches. You have a line from LA to Georgia.
He ain't giving out nothing.
No.
Let me tell you something about little kids. Them little dirty rats ain't catching nothing. They don't need to wear nothing. No mask, no nothing. Matter of fact, they sneeze and the virus go in the opposite direction. You know that? Catch it's gone.
And plus, if the kid pops off, he's 7 years old, how attached can you be to him? He's only been around 7 years.
Yeah, you can mix him up. You can make some up.
Another one look just like the last one.
Right. As a matter of fact, the next one will be better than that one.
Right. He's gonna be immune. So you know what happened to your brother.
You'll be like, you know what? I'm glad Timmy gone. I'm glad
we vaccinated the embryo.
I'm glad Timmy gone. We got to get another one up in there. We got a Laquan coming. Laquan's coming after Timmy.
We can do it better this time, right?
Oh, straight next level.
Yeah, little Timmy's the one that put that winning lottery ticket in the laundry.
Man, I know.
That's crazy. I mean, how in the world do you leave a lottery ticket in your pants and wash it, and now you can't claim the money? That's insane.
Yeah, and if people don't know what happened in California, nobody had claimed this $26 million lottery ticket win. And then finally, this lady came up and says, well, I had the ticket, but I washed it. I had it in my pants in the laundry, and I washed it, and it's disintegrated. And, you know, anybody can kind of say that, but they did this. The owner of the store looked at the surveillance camera, and it showed her buying the ticket at the time. They had a timestamp and all that. So they're trying to work out whether she can kind of get it or not. Because under the rules, it's like if you don't physically have it or some kind of likeness, you can't really claim it. And so in the news, they claimed if you get a ticket, take a picture of the front and back, and sometimes that can suffice. But I don't know.
They say sign it too. Sign your ticket. That's what they say.
So I hope he got it. I was trying to look for some follow-up. I hadn't heard no follow-up yet about whether they're gonna give it to her or not.
She should have just took the jeans in there.
For real.
The jeans I wore. These are jeans I wore when I bought the ticket, and these clean jeans the ticket was in. I got proof. I was wearing dirty, now I'm wearing clean. Give me my money.
I know that's right. I would have been mad as all get out. Oh my goodness.
I bet her husband divorced her.
Really?
He said, I'm
That's the first time she did the laundry all month. She ain't washed the drawers in 2 weeks, and now she do laundry.
He told her, "You never do laundry." What's wrong with you?
The machine that leaks as it is. You could have been having a washing machine in Beverly Hills.
You should have hand washed them. I can't believe it. I do know he was pissed off. You know he's pissed off. They got arguments. They argued all night. Can you imagine that? He slept. He made her sleep on the couch.
You ain't washed all money. You picked the one time to wash clothes.
You picked the one time to do the wrong thing and clean up.
But to her defense, I made a mistake like that one time.
What?
Because I was on this cruise ship, and I was on it for several weeks. And then this particular, they don't do it no more. Now you get paid. You know, it just goes to your account or whatever. But you get a check. There's no cash. But back in those days, years ago, it was like 20 years ago, they were paying you in cash on some of these cruise lines. So I had all this cash because I was on it several weeks. And I was like, I didn't want to have this cash on me and stuff. And then the hotel director said, well, what you can do is get some traveler's checks. And I don't think they even have traveler's checks anymore.
I don't think so.
But before, if you had traveler's checks to American Express, it was just like cash. You could sign it. And if you kept the second part, the receipt part, then you can get your money back if you lost it. But it's not, you could use it as cash and the stores would take it and the banks would take it, but it's not like money, which is cloth. It can hold up in the wash. This is like paper, so it'll disintegrate. And so he said, you can get these traveler's checks, but they're second party traveler's checks. The first party, you do it, you have a carbon copy. But once that carbon copy is gone, it's the physical front part. So once you lose that, you lose that. He said, well, get him a traveler's check. And I was thinking, well, that's not as good as cash, but whatever, I'll try it. Well, they have the serial number or whatever. I didn't even write it down, so it's right now. But I hid them in my room in my dirty clothes. So I went and did my laundry. And I went and checked my laundry, and I had cash in there too. And I saw all these $100 bills floating up in the water. I said, what are these $100 bills floating up? Oh. And my traveler's check. The cash survived. It, floated. But the traveler's check, I looked, it was disintegrating. It was like $2,000.
Oh no!
I was like, man. So when I dried it, I just kept the laundry, and I said, this is the most expensive lift that I'll ever have in my life. So
you lost $2,000.
$2,000.
$2,000. Boy, I bet you didn't wash your clothes.
20 years ago, over time, stock market.
JeRome on stage smelling. He on stage being funky. He's like, you know what? I ain't never doing laundry again on the ship. He walk around flip flops and mustard stains on his pants on stage.
I'm gonna take my shower with my clothes on.
This next comedian has got to be funky.
I'm gonna put my money in a thermos that's waterproof.
Man, that hurt.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So Dean, you was telling me about this lady. She hit the lottery, and her pastor sued her. What in the world was that about?
So she won $180-something million, right?
Yeah, 188.
And 188. Now her pastor, who was her friend, I thought she was dating him, but her pastor, he counseled her for a while. So he wants some money. He said, look, you got to go ahead and tithe, give some money up. She's like, I ain't giving nothing. She's like, I give 10%. He wanted most of it. He sued her because he wanted more money. So now everybody in the church is looking at him like he a pimp. Yeah. But he in jail now. He in jail. Now, I also read that her boyfriend went to jail and she spent like $10 million to get him out on bail. I don't know what he did.
Yeah,
about $10 million.
Ayanla,
So
about
what's that?
$21 million. Yeah, posted that.
It was.
I think you're supposed to get it back if they show up. You lose
Look,
10%.
and
He
then
would
now
have
look,
been there.
and now the mother got a problem. The mother says, "I'm the one that picked the numbers."
Oh,
But
she
she
got
told her mama to go pay for it, and she picked the numbers. But at first, the mother said that she did it. So everybody's on this money now. Everybody.
From the show, Ayanla was talking. The mother doesn't want any money and didn't tell her that she picked the numbers. They said, "Why don't you say you picked the number? Because that's half of yours too." He says, "No, I gave it to my daughter. I gave my daughter the number because it was based on her son."
So she was on Ayanla's set. She was on that show.
So yeah, she didn't want anything from it. And supposedly this pastor was not the regular pastor. It was like a traveling dude that came in. He says, "God sent me here, but I'm the pastor or whatever.
You know what?
He wants money to rehab his church, this other church."
You are not one with Jesus.
But he lost in court, I heard.
You're not one with Jesus. Trying to take half your parishioner's dollar bill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you that right now. You're not one with Jesus if you're trying to take that money. What excuse? Look, he in jail. What are you gonna do with the money?
Yeah. What's the name? I think what
put that money on my book.
Like some people say the money's the root of all evil.
That's what they say.
Yeah, I believe that.
Usually the Christians say the money's the root of all evil.
That's what they say.
Then they had Reverend Ike, who was very famous, like in the 60s. He said, "No, the lack of money is the root of all evil. The lack of money is the root of all evil."
And then there's those that have money. Like
when you have money, it brings out the evil.
It does. And then you have these ministers that have a lot of money, and they say, no, it's the love of money.
Yeah.
They justify it, right?
So all you gotta do is be a preacher, and you set.
You're
gonna get paid somehow.
And the girl,
can you imagine that plate going around, everybody putting dollar bills in? When they get to her, they looking at her like she gonna throw in a lot of money. Mm-hmm. You know what she should do? As soon as she see that plate, she just go. She should be asleep. So that plate comes, here comes.
She was working at McDonald's and Walmart beforehand.
Is she for real? Oh wow!
Yeah. And she was fine too.
Well, there you go, JeRome.
How many kids?
No bonus.
She had like 4 kids, right?
Yeah.
And she was fine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bail that boyfriend out of jail. He would just have to just sit.
I don't know how fine you are when you got money like that. You don't turn. It's not about fine no more. It's just about getting that cash. That's all they want. They don't even care about them kids. You know that dude. The fathers look. All the fathers coming back.
Oh, baby, showing up at the window.
For my son. I'm here for my son. And you ain't been. He's 8 years old.
Give me alimony now.
Ooh.
Right.
Give it to the kid, and he's gonna pull it back to me.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I think he went out and got a private eye and got dug dirt up on everybody. And so he caught this senator with a goat, that one with a monkey. He got now you go against him. It's picture.
Dirty politics. That's probably what started That's probably what started the coronavirus.
Sinister got his socks down and some coveralls and a monkey. What you doing? I'm trying to milk a cow. You ain't milk. You with a monkey. I don't see no cow. That's the smallest, brownest cow I ever seen with baby.
The monkey's got a bat as a pet.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, that's way more valuable than money, right? You got some dirt on somebody.
Yeah. You get dirt. You set. You okay with dirt.
That's why they be bowing down.
Dirt goes a long way.
It does.
Money comes and goes, but dirt don't go. Dirt stick around.
It don't. So you guys, without further ado, what I am going to do is I'm going to introduce my guest. I'm super excited. Saint Oshun is a musical group from Milwaukee. They're grounded in soul. Saint Oshun has been compared to Prince, Bruno Mars, Beyonce, Doja Cat, and The Weeknd. Members C-Dub and Portia believe that mindful lyrics and positive social media messaging can inspire and empower people to make change. So here's their new song and video filmed at Michael Jackson's mansion. And so here we go. I'm going to share their amazing video with you guys. This is a treat. So honored that they elected to share it with us.
Hey girl, what's wrong? You want bullshit for too long? No, I'll ride and die for you, babe. Fuck a retrograde, make that lemonade. Use a sweet thing, lady. Drop and fuck on what they say. They so low, you a diamond from all that pressure. Say you do the great. Your mama, daughter, babe. I love you through the babe. We gon' switch it up, shorty.
Status low key, come so sick. It is gonna talk when I'm closer and closer. 100%, I'll never forget. If I was spit out like slated. If anybody asks me, got no time, I'm so fine.
Spotlight. Girl, stop playing all I'm saying, shorty vibe. I'ma make a movie star of you tonight. All these flashing lights and damn, you're so fine. Girl, recognize your spotlight. I wanna slow dance you on the floor. I holla at your boy, you know it's on. Really got us squatting like rock stars. Ain't no tripping, no, cause you know when love is gonna be yo. Wanna pull me so it's so slow. I've been loving you and waiting long.
I'm a savage location like close, yeah. It is with the talk, no love lost you, exhaust me. 100%, so that bitch, if I was to die like slated, if anybody asking, it's my time, I'm gon' shine.
Spotlight. Girl, stop playing all I'm saying, shorty vibe. I'ma make a movie star of you tonight. All these flashing lights and damn, you're so fine. Girl, recognize your spotlight.
This girl is on time. Don't sleep on me, the work it don't stop, baby. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This girl is on time. I know I'm rocking cause I got it on lock, baby. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Spotlight, that's the light like a top light. Say your letter, get a top right. We shine bright, this is spotlight, light, spotlight. That's the light like a top light. Say your letter, get a top right. We shine bright, this is spotlight, light.
Welcome to the spotlight. At the top lights flash like cop lights. So fly when we land, take a top flight. Low coast, first class, rock starlight. We came to move, ain't come to lose. Turn up the volume, we made the notes. We on top now, ain't no coming down from here. We got the spotlight fame, we found it here. Yeah.
Spotlight. Girl, stop playing all I'm saying, shorty vibe. You deserve the world, go get your spotlight. All these flashing lights, and damn, it's so fine. Girl, it's not, so realize your spotlight. Girl, stop playing all I'm saying, shorty vibe. I'ma make a movie star of you tonight. All these flashing lights, oh damn, you're so fine. Girl, recognize your spotlight.
Outstanding, outstanding. Oh my gosh, they did an amazing job with that video. Oh my gosh. So without further ado, let me bring them on in the room. C-Dub and Portia, the members of Saint Oshun.
Hey. Hey.
Hi.
That-
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh my goodness, that video was amazing. You guys did that.
Thank you.
Wow, that's amazing. So welcome back. I'm so honored that you came back and wanted to show your video with us. So that's huge. That is huge.
Thank you for having us back.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So tell me, what's the story about Spotlight?
You want?
I mean, it's really Charles' story. So when we were songwriting, we often try to tap into like something that we've experienced personally, because then the writing becomes a little bit more profound. And Charles had two young ladies in his life during his well, you weren't like super young, but you still were a child. He was in high school, and they both were underdogs at some point, and he really wanted to champion them. And why don't you just tell her like exactly what their situations were?
So these two women in high school, both of them had made decisions that kind of made them outcasts. One had an abortion, and the other one was just super socially awkward. And so the school kind of decided that they were fair game to pick on, and so they could never seem to get past their past. So this song is really about, if I could go back in time and try and tell them what I wanted them to know, it was that you need to forget about what everybody else thinks about you. You just need to embrace who you are. And I can't fix everything for you, and I can't fix all of people's opinions, but at least for this moment, at least for this night, I want to give you the spotlight. I want you to know how important you are and how much you matter.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's beautiful.
And the lyrics are, I wish people would go back to the lyrics, because even sometimes when you write lyrics, you're like, "Ooh, that's good. Let's keep it that." But then I was explaining the lyrics to one of my sisters, and then it was just so deep. We were like, "Oh my God, these lyrics."
There's a whole lyric video if you want to see the lyrics.
But if you're not paying attention, it just sounds like a fun song. But yeah, some of the little hidden meanings were really, they had way more depth than when you just first kind of take it in. So.
Oh, wow. That's so deep. I love to hear about the meaning behind a song. And
me too.
Oh my gosh. But the music and the dancers and Porsche, my goodness, those outfits, girl, you was wearing those outfits.
There's a stylist here in Los Angeles that is also a choreographer. Okay. Her name is Othezi, and she's actually styled. I remember right before we hired her, she had styled, and they had just released one of Chris Brown's videos. So she's kind of a celebrity stylist, and she was the one that dressed me up in that big old hat and gown and that beautiful goddess dress. And we were just so rush on that set that I didn't even get a chance to take it in. I just put this thing on. I didn't even get a chance to take it in. I was just like, let me just perform this song. But yeah, she dressed us that day.
Yes,
she really did the thing.
Charles, you look good too. I got to give him credit.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Those dancers were amazing. Oh my gosh, they were dancing their butt off. And I saw the trend of them on TikTok. Everybody's doing that little routine to your song.
Yes.